right. Now, I know like we usually film our interviews like a week ahead. So the people are going to be listening to this and as this episode 151. However, we're in episode 150 right now as we speak.
Right.
And we're fucking high as fuck.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I like to mark this episode with a special guest as well, who we're interviewing, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because you have done a lot of historic things, you know what I'm saying, in this hip-hop scene.
Thanks. Respect.
No, you have, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not easy to be able to get a hit song. You know what I mean? A lot of rappers can go to the studio, make fucking music, and come out with like 20 tracks in a month. Mm-hmm. But will they make a hit?
Best fucking friend, dear hip hop. I love you till I die. To taste the grace of your embrace, I will try. My mission is to utilize.
You know what I'm saying?
I ain't never made a hit.
Dear hip hop is a hit.
Ain't no hit. There's a difference between a hit and a classic.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
Classic.
Yo, hold on a second.
My bad.
Man just pulled out his revolver on you.
Yeah.
Because
if I had made a hit, things would have gone different. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Things would have, I'd be in a different place, in a different world. And, you know, I'm proud of that. By the way, like, I completely take everything you're saying, like, as much respect, and I appreciate it. And I'm not the one who determined that Dear Hip Hop was a classic. Enough time, even at the time, it got love when it came out. But sometimes it's crazy to me how much time has passed since 96 and how many people have determined that that's a classic record. And I'm just thankful that people say so, but I've grown to appreciate it being called that because it resonates with people as something that was important, something they thought was dope, something they still believe in, as opposed to it being a hit. Because when you talk about hit records, that's a whole other
hits come and go
thing. And it's funny that a lot of people forget that Dear Hip Hop wasn't even like a single release. It was just a song on a compilation, and that compilation did its thing. Shouts to Beat Factory and the Rap Essentials movement, with the video was in rotation, the tour.
Was that Rap Essentials 1 or 2?
Part 1.
Yeah.
That was the
Rap
album.
Essentials.
It was the first, it wasn't the first compilation of its kind, but that compilation, I think, really set Canadian hip hop in sort of this new direction.
Yes.
And so the album has classics on it, and I'm just so thankful that for my debut, that record became considered a classic, but it didn't chart per se. You know what I mean? It was like a hit, but to this day, I mean, I can't go anywhere without people talking about it. I've done remixes that have been released in Japan and France, and like, it's crazy the life that song has taken on.
Not to cut you off, but do we even introduce our guests?
Yes.
Nah.
We didn't. That's what I'm saying. That's how high we are right now. We just started talking.
It's cool, man. Right? So celebrating.
Speaking of a classic moment, right? The creator of the song Dear Hip Hop, right? We have Danny O in the motherfucking building.
The clouds get rowdy with storming. Before your first date, I hate that you have to be cautious of enormous nonsense. Boys are constantly heartless, dishonest, the fairness is veiled.
Respect, man. Yes. Thanks for having me, and congratulations to y'all on 150. I didn't know this was the 150, but I'm honored to be part of this, man. Yes. And there's definitely a party in here, man. So shout to everybody in the building. Thanks for having me here.
Ricky, go let this.
I got cake on my face?
Like cake.
Some of the party got on there.
It's been crazy. It's been crazy. So,
But what were y'all thinking bringing an asthmatic onto this show? Because
I know, right? Okay.
I'm sorry we didn't think about that.
It's all good.
Do you have your puffer? That's a good question.
It's good. No, the good news is that I'm not nearly asthmatic as I used to be. I actually haven't used a puffer in 12 years. When I stopped drinking milk, I stopped needing an asthma inhaler.
Hey.
So all asthmatics out there drinking milk, cut it out.
Cut that shit out. So
what did you replace milk with?
Like almond milk. I'll use that.
Yeah.
Okay.
No dairy, man, means no coughing.
Let me ask you something.
Until there's enough. It's cigarette smokes that get me, so y'all are all right.
Okay.
Yeah, we good.
Let me ask you a quick fast.
Yeah, man.
Are you really chilling Monday Night Raw watching?
Oh, desire. I like chilling Monday Night Raw watching. Me and Danny O at the Sky Dome when it's in town.
I was
with chocolate.
I was. That was a legit line. Yeah, because it's funny. The segue is perfect because we met before Rap Essentials, but we went on the Rap Essentials tour together. So the Rap Essentials tour was Choclair, Danny O, YOK. Yeah. And YOK was rocking with me. We did a joint show. It was like Monolith, man. So we rolled with Black Cat, and Choclair rolled with Ro Dollar, Casey Thomas, and DJ Supreme. And the 7 of us made up what we called the 7 Deadly Venoms, which were the tour artists for Rap Essentials. On the tour, we obviously got to know each other a lot better, you know, spending nights in hotels and stuff. And dog, there were times where we would legit wrestle. Like, man would get on beds and suplex a man on the next bed. Like, that's fully what was going on, in pile drivers, backflips. So, because we discovered, Shocks and I discovered, you're a wrestling man? Yeah, I'm a wrestling man. So we talk about 80s stuff and Hogan and all the, when we grew up as Hulkamaniacs.
That's it. You guys start talking about Hogan, that's it.
Yeah, because that's, that was our era, right? Like, I'm a man who went to WrestleMania 6 as a 12-year-old, bro. And so, yeah, we discovered we were wrestling fans. And so, legit, sometime after the tour, we went to not just a Raw, we went to a WCW event. I think it was like a Nitro, if y'all remember WCW Nitro.
I remember Nitro.
So we went to wrestling events, and then it was the following year, I think. We were doing an event at York U. Did a concert at York U. And Shocks took me aside and was like, yo, I just wrote this joint, man, and I shout you out in it and everything. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I was sort of half hearing what he was talking about. Had no idea what he was referring to would be another eventual classic in Northern Touch. So it's kind of crazy
Monday
that...
Night Raw, watch it.
Yeah, outside of Dear Hip Hop, I'm known for a shout out.
Yeah.
You're known for more than that.
So respect. But legit, we did go and watch wrestling. So yeah.
I'm gonna bounce around a little bit. What about now? Like, because I see you got a few things that are popping off now.
Me as if Jesus had stabbed me. What's all this faith for? If I'm having my place raw, then seas of days gonna cook. They don't wanna taste raw no more. Struggling to tour.
All right. Let's talk about the new stuff that you got.
Sure, man.
So, give us a rundown of all the new things because we're at the end of 2019 at this point. So how was your releases for 2019? I feel like you dropped
right here.
About.
This is it. Can I get this on camera?
Of course you can.
Is this looking good?
And that's your Instagram profile as well.
It is. Yeah, this is my everything profile right now. This is me and my daughter Melina. So my newest album just dropped 2 months ago. This is album number 5 as a solo artist. It's called The Day It All Changed, and it refers, of course, to the day my daughter was born, because that changed everything.
Wow.
Any parents in the building?
None of
yeah,
them.
You know what I'm saying.
So something about
yeah. So I'm super proud of this project because obviously since she was born, it has changed everything, and just in terms of my view of the world, what's important to me and what isn't, like how I feel about shit, what I think, and so. Writing one song turned into another song, turned into a bunch, turned into an album concept. And I decided, there's nothing more important to me right now. There's nothing I feel like talking about, discussing more than this particular feeling that I have, this idea of being a dad and looking at the world different. So the entire album takes on that theme. It's a conversation with my daughter, 10 joints, all with different topics, but all under the umbrella of I'm a dad now. Wow. And so nice. I just did a release party in Ottawa a week ago. Looking to do something here in Toronto, and I'm going back out there for the hip hop food drive and hitting up Montreal. So I'm starting to get back on the road again because of the album. 2 videos have been released from the album. I'm shooting more. Nice. So this has been my newest and biggest thing as far as 2019 is concerned. That's what I'm moving on right now.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
What do you feel your difference is in your approach now from the way that you used to approach music back in the days?
Stop caring about bullshit. You know what I'm saying? When I was coming up, the Dear Hip Hop era now, right? The last album I put out was the 20th anniversary of Dear Hip Hop. Yeah. And it had all of my 90s recordings on it from the Dear Hip Hop era that never came out. Because remember, Dear Hip Hop came out on a compilation. Yeah. Right. The record that I recorded never really got released. Oh. So a French label called Sergeant Records dropped the entire album on vinyl in 2014. It was distributed in Europe and Japan only. And I decided, now over here in North America, everyone's streaming, everything is Spotify and all of that. So I'm you can Spotify me and you can't hear Dear Hip Hop. That's kind of weird.
That's fucked up.
So let me re-release the album as a 20th anniversary project. Yeah. That's what I did. So now it can be streamed everywhere. And on that album is all of my 90s when I was a teenager raps, and every record is about like being desperate to put out a record. I had never put out a record before, so I got a record called Incarceration, which is me talking about being locked up and I'm trying to get out, a metaphor for never having put out a record. I got another song called Constipated, where it's like, I just want to drop my shit. Every single concept was like, you know, I'm dope, look at me, I don't have no records out and I want to put one out. So all these years later now, to answer your question, I just see, I just see things differently, because obviously I've put out records, but I've also gone through the grind of this game. So like when you are a teenager and you're thinking about dropping records, your mindset is superstar status and fame and all this kind of stuff. And when it doesn't happen, I think it separates the real from the not so real. I won't say fake, because I know mans love hip hop and our MCs, but the not so real are the ones who go, this is too hard for me, fuck it. But I looked at the game and said, yo, all that touring, all this video play, all this much music love, all this everybody knows who I am shit, it doesn't, like, I didn't even have an album out yet. And so now I'm working on this shit, trying to maintain some semblance of what I had when I was doing all that stuff. Nobody signed me. No one was putting me on. I had to put myself on. And how the whole Monolith crew came about is because we were just trying to do shit for ourselves. So now I'm in a mindset where I'm not so worried about what the world thinks in terms of whether I'm a star or not a star, if I made it, if I didn't make it. You know, I get asked a lot of questions about, oh, you feel like, yo, you know, you upset like you didn't really blow up. I'm like, that's how I used to think, this concept of blowing up. My mindset about success is, do I wake up every day happy doing what I'm doing? And the answer is yes. All these years later, I'm still writing, recording, performing. I work in the arts and entertainment field as an artist, as an actor, as a writer. I teach songwriting. So everything I've ever wanted to do, I'm doing. Whether it's at the level that other people say is successful or not is not my concern. I'm successful because I do what it is I love doing. I've always said I was going to do. I knew I was going to do music when I was 5 years old. When Thriller came out, that was it. I was trying to be Michael Jackson. Right up until I discovered hip-hop, I thought I was going to be MJ. I discovered hip-hop, I decided this was for me, and I've never looked back. So no longer caring about what everyone else is saying about what you got to do, what you should do, who's hot, who's not. It's very freeing feeling to be this grown to not care. You know what I'm saying? I made an album about being a dad, and I was like, I wasn't watching who was going to like it or not. I didn't care.
Something you just
That's
wanted
what
to do.
I'm doing. That's what I'm on right now. You don't like it? That's okay. And it feels good to feel that way.
Quick fast now with the even with what you were mentioning, right?
Excuse me.
Oh man,
I'm surprised you're doing the coughing. I'm maintaining over here.
I forgot the question I was going to ask.
It's okay. We're celebrating 150, man.
I understand. A good one too, man.
So let me ask you a question. You said 5 is when you say you want to be Michael Jackson. You're going to be an entertainer. So how old were you when you wrote your first song or your first lyrics?
Rap lyrics?
Any lyrics in general.
I was. That's a great question, because I can tell you that as a kid, I don't know the age. I could have been maybe 7, 8 years old, maybe younger. As a kid, I was already into music. Like, I remember some of my earliest memories are like going to kindergarten class and bringing records for show and tell. Like, I was about the music. Like, I had toys and stuff. I love my Transformers and my He-Man and my wrestlers. But I was playing my parents' records. You know, some of them I still have, like the Bob Marley records. I completed that collection. They had my dad was Spanish man, but a Clipsonian. I had Byron Lee and the Dragonaires records, you know what I'm saying? And then kids records, because I was a kid and that's what my parents bought me. And then when Thriller came out, I was like, no, I want that. So that was my first Big People's record. You know what I mean? Like adults listen to this. Now it's mine. And at home, I'd play records, man. I never became a DJ, but I was still to this day, I'm fascinated by records. Like, this is on vinyl. Because I love vinyl. And so playing records, I would pretend I was a DJ, or I'd pretend I was performing, and so I would write songs. I would make up albums like that didn't exist, and I couldn't draw, but I would draw album covers. I studied this. Like, I would draw barcodes. I would draw production credits. I would write the year and the label that it came out on. This is all make-believe. But this is what I was doing.
Before you started making music.
Long before I started making music, I was pretending to make music.
This is inbred in you.
Yeah, man. To this day, like, even as I look at this, I work meticulously with my graphic designer to determine what goes where, what it looks like and stuff. Because literally from a youth, I was doing that.
You were already doing it,
Just drawing it out, because I studied albums. So, like, to me, the streaming world is
10,000 hours in.
Oh, dog, it's got to be more than that.
Yeah, that's what you got your 10,000.
Oh, a long time. Yeah, right? Bro.
Like you would have loved our cake because the top
I got me a piece.
I know, but I'm saying that the actual, when you enjoy it at home, just know that the actual top of it was a vinyl
record dope.
It was a record with our logo. That's one of our logos.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right. So
well, stands to reason, man. Y'all are music guys. Man.
I remember what I want to ask you now.
Okay.
Because you were mentioning all the different things that you were
came back to stoner thoughts.
I know, right?
Don't let them lose it.
Like all the different things that you started to get into, right?
Yeah.
Like the different ventures beyond hip hop.
Yeah.
Right. And I remember I'm watching TV back when I used to watch TV.
Okay.
And I seen a Hot Pocket commercial. Pizza Pops.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
and I was like, holy fuck, there's Danny O in the Pizza Pop commercial. Mm-hmm. How did you score that? And then was that the beginning of you starting to transition into getting into the acting and all the other stuff?
Yeah, that was one of my earliest commercials, man. Interesting. And let me tell you, still to this day, one of my biggest paydays, that Pizza Pops.
Really, eh?
Oh, dude. I got into, first of all, similarly to the whole music thing. Music's always been my first love.
Right.
But my brother and I, he also works in entertainment. We loved music and movies. So we would watch a movie and almost start acting it out right away. We portray characters. To this day, my brother and I could speak to each other in movie references. You know what I'm saying? Like we just know we're buffs like that. Yeah. And so it was always an aspiration of mine to act also, but music just sort of took over and became my thing. And then at some point, obviously I'm doing music videos from Dear Hip Hop up until did some acting in those, and then eventually was like, you know what, let me try this. Mm-hmm. Now I was a locsman at the time, right? I had the dreads going. So when I started acting as a legit actor with an agent who sent me on auditions, so that's how I started. I got an agent, my manager at the time. This is 2003. Okay, got me an agent. Agent started sending me on auditions, but based on my look, everything was rapper, DJ, rapper, DJ. So I played a bunch of rappers and a bunch of DJs and a bunch of different things. Yeah. So the Pizza Pops thing, legit, that audition was freestyle.
Really?
Come in the audition and I literally freestyled. My first ever commercial.
What did you freestyle about? Sorry to interrupt you.
Couldn't tell you, man.
Okay.
I don't remember a single freestyle I've ever
done. Was it
like
a Pizza Pop related?
No. I think to the best of my recollection, auditioning an audition, sometimes I would freestyle about the audition, tell them you don't want to audition another rapper, whatever. Just you know what I mean? You found the right guy, whatever. Talk about them, stuff like that. Sure. Because they wouldn't necessarily be hip hop people. They're auditioning someone for their commercial.
For the part.
So do something funny, impress them. Show them that you're freestyling.
Give them a bar that's clear.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah. And the first time I did that, he won't kill me for this because he said this before too, but I actually auditioned with Maestro for a radio I don't know if it was the Pizza Pops or the Radio Shack, but I did a Radio Shack. My first ever commercial was a Radio Shack commercial with Cardinal Official.
Yes.
And we're battling each other on a basketball court.
Radio Shack.
And legit, that was the audition, was freestyle. So I did that. I did the Pizza Pops thing, a couple other things. I couldn't even, a Burger King commercial where I was a DJ, where I didn't have to necessarily DJ, but that was the look.
Yeah, I remember that one too.
Yeah. So in 2012, it was 2012 when I cut my dreads, and then the audition started turning into a whole bunch of other things. And
because the look is different.
The look is different. They can cast you for stuff. I get cast for, a dad and stuff like that, or a teacher or whatever. But I'm happy to say that I've been able to continue working in that field as well. Yeah. And the transition from live on stage to in front of the camera was just very natural.
Super easy.
Yeah.
As off the page question.
Yeah.
As former locksmans, both of us.
Yes, that's right. Well, you still have the name still.
Yeah, you used to have dreads too.
Yeah, man.
Herc used to have dreads.
Yes.
Why did you cut yours off?
Why?
Yeah.
There was a few reasons. Tell me if this happened to you. Mm-hmm. First of all, I want to talk about why I grew them to begin with.
Okay.
And when I decided, which actually happened to be around the time, so we're talking about 96 when Dear Hip Hop came out. The following year, I was already growing my hair. I had cornrows for about a year in 97. There's two videos that captured it. Just weird hip hop trivia. Anyone catch Cardinal Official's On With The Show?
Yes.
Or Frankenstein's UV, you'll catch me the only 2 times ever in cornrows. I ended up having this big old afro that I twisted in 98, and so the first instances of seeing me with those dreads are in the Monolith videos.
Top, y'all. Hey, yo, Black, I'ma meet you at the top. Yo, my man Danny, yo, I'ma meet you at the top, yo. Yo, Charisma, I'ma meet you at the top.
Okay.
At the top in Plan A. And why I grew them is I started thinking about myself or the world really through more spiritual eyes. I had changed my diet. I stopped eating meat in 98. I didn't become a Rasta, but started really learning more about Rastafarianism and the concept of being pure and all this stuff. And I thought it was in keeping with where I was. My second album was called See No Evil, Hear No Evil, which was just trying to, literally rid myself of like the ills of the world mentally and all that. So it was in keeping with this conscious idea of life. And so the Locs grew with that world, that way of living in the world. So this is like 98 is when I started locking them up. And there's two main reasons why I cut them. The first one, the most honest reason I can give you is, bro, they started looking real bad, guy. They just didn't look so good. So another piece of video trivia for you. So my first ever video with my group, Perfect Strangers, shout out to Promise, is called Ghetto. And in the video, my locks are, I had them down to like ass level. And so they were ponytailed. And what was happening to me, I don't know if this happened to you guys or other locksmans out there, but they were growing, thankfully I wasn't going bald, but they were growing away from my ears, like the sides were getting thin. So sometimes a thin ass dread would be like, yo, this is gonna fall off. So I take a next one and lock them together. And so I started having like not on purpose, low sides, and like I had a dread hop going on is what happened. Okay?
I remember that.
You know what I'm saying? And so I remember after watching the Ghetto video, the video's done now, I'm watching it and I'm like, yo, man, this is that how I look? Because I started looking at next Lockmans, balding dreads,
watch your music video,
receding dreads. Yeah, now I'm watching the music video going.
Variations.
Now I'm looking at myself the way I look at other guys with bad looking locks. And I said, yo, that can't work. Have a good night.
All right.
So, and it was funny because Promise is like, yo, I thought you meant to do that. Don't you shave the sides on purpose? I'm like, nah. Like, so that's the impression I'm giving. So I said, you know what, man? So this is what I wanted to ask you. When I did have dreads, I actually had a lot of dreams, legit dreams, where in the dream I would lose the dreads or I'd get a haircut or something would happen to them.
Right.
And like every single dream I'd wake up, like I'd check to see if they were still there. And I was like, oh, thank God. Because I was like dreads for life.
Yeah, I had a similar.
The dream started changing. The dream started changing. I'm a little bit of a neat freak. At home and I clean and tidy. I'm always, my personal hygiene, always washing up. And I started having dreams that were like making me feel like I wasn't clean anymore. I don't know. It was just weird. It was like it became mentally like they weren't looking good. So I guess I wasn't feeling good about them. So now in the dreams, I was starting to cut my hair and realizing I felt better about myself. So that plus the acting career thing made me go, I think it's time. It was also I was also transitioning the way I felt about my whole music career too. So without going any furtherly, that's not a word. In the long way, I'm high too. It's on secondhand highness. Furtherly. And then try not to get too long-winded, which I tend to do. I decided it was the right time for those personal and professional reasons. And that makes it 8 years January.
Wow.
Which is crazy.
Wow.
Which is crazy. Yeah. But it's helped my acting career, and it's obviously set me on a new path. And I have them. I don't know about you guys.
I have mine.
Yeah, I have mine.
I have one.
Yeah, I kept them in a
I have mine wrapped up in a towel.
Yeah, mine's in a Ziploc. Hey. My daughter thinks it's so weird.
Shout out to all the people that locks out there.
Yeah, man. Like literally, I'm that attached to them. Like I can't just let these go.
No, they're a part of your life.
I made that decision, but I can't let them go.
Yeah.
So
I feel that
I'm glad I'm not alone.
I feel the same way. I still have mine.
Man. Yeah. That took a while, bro.
No,
it's an accomplishment.
I grew mine. I grew mine for like I think it was 10 years at least. Yeah, like.
And mine was 13, I think.
06.
Mine was about 8.
06 is when I cut mine. Right? So
it wasn't an easy decision.
No, it wasn't.
But when I got to it, I just knew that was right.
06.
Crazy.
Monolith talk. Can we have some Monolith talk?
We always gotta have Monolith talk.
Fresh, didn't do the test. So watch me as I impress, following the rest. What makes you think you're not seen when your style's spitting like every case on Dentine? Word to my gene.
I guess.
You know what I'm saying? you're part of the legendary Monolith. You know
Respect,
what I'm saying?
Man. I'm appreciative that people feel that way.
It's our version of a Wu-Tang clan and more because there's more members than Wu-Tang. How many members were in the Monolith?
Official tally.
You know what? That's always been an interesting question because the answer has always been hard to determine.
Yes.
There was a time when Monolith was MCs, DJs, graffiti artists, Like shouts to Duro the Third, who was part of it. My man Case, like those were our graph artists. If you were a producer, MC, or DJ, or graph artist, you were part of the crew. It formed from 2 crews. So quick history. In North Scarborough, we were the Lyrical Coalition. In South Scarborough, there was the Horde. The Horde was Corey D's, Black Cat, Nish Rocks, those men. Lyrical Coalition was like myself and Spider-Man, now Parker, Grimace Love, Charisma, you know, those cats. So we met each other, and somewhere in and around 94, Lyrical Coalition and the Horde formed what we called One Rock, Monolith, and then One Rock Records was the label. So we formed 2 crews into one, and it ended up being that like there were several groups within the group. Like even me and Spy were partners, and Grimace. We all had like little groups within the group. IRS was a group too.
IRS was part of Monolith.
Yeah, they're part of Monolith.
And Black Cat.
They're part of the Horde.
The Horde
becoming.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah. And so I think Corey deserves credit for naming us Monolith. And then when we became a crew, there was upwards of about 30 dudes at a certain time. And I told the story recently over someone who reminded me about it. We actually held our own personal tryouts. Because by 30 dudes, to be real, certain mans are like, they're not bad.
They're
but
okay.
you want to, if we're going to do this, let's do this. So we actually held our own personal tryout talent show in Charisma's basement, and it was literally press play on a tape and perform. To be in the crew, and we had anonymous votes. So you wrote a check or an X on
almost
a piece
like
of
a
paper.
blackball thing.
That's what it was. Long before American Idol and stuff. So
Monolith Idol.
Yeah, bro. We had Monolith Idol.
Join the Monolith crew. This is what you got to do.
Yeah.
All right.
So literally, the guys who became the Monolith that people really got to know, like the crew with the put out music, the videos up, we voted each other in. So yeah, and so today I think we legitimately look at the Monolith as I think there's 12 official members. One of them has passed on. God bless Destro.
Yes,
so 11 living members of Monolith officially. But everyone's family. Like we got. But it's but that's why I say the number's always hard, because most people know Monolith as the group who performed together as hip hop artists, when Monolith was so much more than just the rap group. So to this day we remain family. Track 9 on The Day It All Changed is called Family Stays, and it's all about Monolith, and the whole song references people always going, what's going on with you guys? You guys gonna get back together? I'm like, we ain't never broke up. Like, that's my family. Like, in the song I mentioned, like, I'm godfather to 2 of the youths, in the crew. I've emceed their weddings. I've introduced Black Cat to his wife. Like, we're still, dude, on the way here, mans are arguing on on WhatsApp about this album and that. And when are we holding the Chris Kringle?
The group chat.
Yeah. Monolith Chris Kringle is what we can't decide on the date. Like, mans are family. Nice. I'm proud to say that that's the case with the crew. When it comes and dudes are still doing their thing.
When it comes to hip hop, for me with Monolith, it did introduce me to the graffiti, right? Yeah. There were some videos where you guys had the graffiti murals in the back.
Yeah, that was very purposeful.
Like, I remember riding trains like from here, down from Bishop, from Dundas. I won't lie, I skipped a couple of classes. I rode the train down to jump on the LRT and all of them things just to go see these graffiti spots that they were in the videos that you guys were rapping. Like, yo, that was in the video right there. And we were like, yeah, for real. And we used to do that. You know what I'm saying? And like, that was a big part of me getting introduced to like the graffiti side and the DJing side of hip hop, because most people just rap. It wasn't like you said how you have Duro 3 and Case. I think that was his name. Case.
That's right. Yeah.
In doing their graffiti, right? And back then it was like, oh, you would see graffiti. We wouldn't have the artist and them and the DJ, everyone one time. So
we were fortunate. We were very proud of that, to have those mans part of the crew. They're just Scarborough dudes. They were just a part of the team, And so for a long time, and this is in the Dear Hip Hop video, we had that Monolith 7 Dwarfs graffiti set up. And, became sort of a staple in Scarborough. If you were riding the RT, you would see it.
That's what I'm saying. I would go to see it.
Yeah, it's funny because I told you about the 20th anniversary album is actually called Dear Hip Hop 20 Years Later. And there's a record called 20 Years Later that I eventually did the video for. And we go back and we visit all the locations where we shot Dear Hip Hop. And all the graph is gone. All gone.
So and that's like probably something else now.
It's just a gray wall.
Oh wow!
Oh, so there's like, but is there like another building, or it's the same building?
It's the exact same building. Mm-hmm. So anybody out there wants to YouTube 20 years later, Danny O, you'll see it. And because we go back there, like it's that's sort of the concept of the song too. Because 20 years later, I'm talking to hip hop again. Like I still feel the same, but man, you know, a lot has changed.
Yeah.
And it worked out. We shot the video a year ago, so it was cold. Dear Hip Hop Video Summer. You know what I mean? So the whole essence, everything's changed. It's like not the same now. And it's not to say that things are sad, but things have changed, because when we discuss hip hop today, it's so interesting. Every time I get asked about hip hop and the state of hip hop and how do you think hip hop, I go, there's two ways to answer this question. Are you talking about hip hop, the culture, or are you talking about hip hop, the music genre that we're going to discuss who's hot on the charts or who's selling or who's got the most whatever views, streams, whatever the thing is that makes people cool now.
Billboard or whatever.
Yeah, because hip hop as a culture, you know, there's much that we could talk about. Like there's still a strong battle scene. There's still DJs. There are graph artists, and there's b-boys and b-girls. So I think hip hop
that's covering all of this stuff.
And there's a lot, exactly. And also the internet has become sort of the new underground in that, you know, you're able to get access to music that you may otherwise never have heard of. So if an artist, absolutely, artists from other countries, graph artists from other countries, you can discover them.
Let me stop you for 1 second, because you said something poignant with the internet.